And here we are, December 24th, 2025. And I want to first start off by saying thank you for taking the time to be with me this day. Because all around the world, people are making last-minute stops, last-minute flights, last-minute buys. They are arranging for what is to be celebrated as a glorious day tomorrow morning. And I want to say thank you for taking this moment to just stop in, to be dedicated, to follow after your passion. As I said, today is December 24th, 2025, and this is recording number 931. 931. Entitled, A Land Called Beulah. A land called Beulah. And if you come from a background as I did, as I know some of you have, we made fun of that name called Beulah because it was not something that just really intimated beauty or respect or wonderfulness. And there were even some songs written with the name Beulah in them. But when I came across it in the scriptures, I saw where the name originated. It's called a land called Beulah. Now, our background scripture is Isaiah chapter 62, verse 4. It reads, "Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate, but thou shalt be called HEPHZIBAH, and thy land Beulah. For the Lord delighted in thee, and thy land shall be married." We can just deduce from the scripture, HEPHZIBAH means blessed, fertile, abundant. Thy land shall be called HEPHZIBAH, and it is a land called Beulah. For the Lord delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married. Now, as I pointed out before, we live in a land called consciousness. And that's the main thing that we must never play down or forget to understand. I realize how hard it is when something is coming at you, but your first inclination, even before confusion or doubt or whatever reaction sets in, is I'm in a land called consciousness. And the only thing that can affect me is what affects my consciousness. And tonight, you're going to hear about a land called Beulah. Because that land is blessed, and in that land, you are a delight. In that land, you are abundantly blessed. In that land, you're cared for. You're no longer desolate. You're no longer forsaken. So where did those terms come from? Those are terms that we derived because of what we term to be lack in our world. But in reality, what we had done was we had caused those words to become reality as lack in our consciousness. Everything stems from that which we believe to be. So once we understand that consciousness drives everything, and consciousness has to come from God, because without having God, we can not have consciousness. So therefore, we have the consciousness of that which is conscious of everything. Blessed are those eyes that see and those ears that do hear, for they have entered a land of delight. divine delight, restoration, intimate union with God. Now we go back to the words eyes and ears. As I mentioned in my last Sunday broadcast, eyes perceive and understand, ears hear and understand. So therefore, blessed are the eyes that derive, that interpret correct interpretation of what they are seeing and what they are hearing. And let me stop you and say, turn. For the eye sees in consciousness, and the ears hear in consciousness, and therefore they turn even without what we call a physical understanding or a practical understanding of what's going on outside of us, because in reality there is nothing going on outside of us. We are acknowledging the source of all perfect and holy interpretation, an intimate union with God, our Maker, the land of delight. Now you can see consciousness is the land of delight, and you need not explain it to anyone that's outside of you. It is a divine delight. It is a land referred to as Beulah land. Here, there is a restored knowledge where the occupants are married to the God of the universe. Just look where your imagination just went when I said married. Because you see, the God of the universe is never going to cheat on you. The God of the universe is never going to lie. The God of the universe is never going to sneak, is never going to withhold anything. The God of the universe is never going to look with a undelightful eye, a disrespectful eye. See, this is the attitude that we're given. And then we begin to look now and look at all of the world where divorce is past 50%. Because there's no understanding of what that word married truly means. Means betrothed and dedicated to one that will not deceive. Wow. Yes. Married. A place where mankind identity. See? Mankind is married in oneness with the Christ of God. Can you not see why this is not speakable in unprepared conversation or unprepared consciousness? Who do you know would actually think that God communes with you on a married basis? Meaning there's communion back and forth, guidance back and forth, counsel back and forth, providence back and forth, protection back and forth. Who do you know would believe that you have that kind of identity with God? And if they even were to accept it on a questionable basis, guess what? Now they're looking for any opportunity for you to lose it, for you to lose your cool, so they can say, I thought you and God were one. Yes, now we see where sacredness and secrecy comes in, because that which we are married to has sworn to watch over our affairs with total dedication. No more separation or thoughts of lack, but a restoration of spiritual awareness called the Garden of Eden consciousness, that which has existed before the formation of symbolic matter. Why did I say that which has existed? Because consciousness is infinitely invisible, and yet it is full of all that it is. It is full of everything. Are you saying that I only need to depend on consciousness? That's right. That's right. That's all you need to depend on. As Jesus walked past the tree that should have been bearing fruit, was he depending on a God to make happen what he was saying? Or was he depending on the consciousness that he believed? No man eat fruit of you anymore, and kept right on walking. Wow. Symbolic matter. That means everything that appears in our world is symbolic. Did you get that? It's symbolic. And depending on the depth of the understanding that you're willing to put forth, will yield the understanding that your soul is taking in. So whatsoever a man looks at, smells, hears, tastes, or touches is symbolic of the eternality of that thing in his consciousness. Here, mankind is married. He keeps his conversation now, watches where he spends his dime, looks out for the safety of those who are unprotected, and if necessary, speaks within himself. He's married. He will not deceive himself or his God, because he realizes that that person also has within them that which he is aware of. He is no longer solely dependent upon outer means of survival, and is rejoined consciously to his eternal identity as the Son of God, or the visible image of the invisible all. I'm going to say that again. He is no longer solely dependent upon outer means. Man shall not live by bread alone. But he is rejoined, mean made aware again. He is not being born into something. He is not being made anew. He is not being formed as something that he is not. He is rejoined in awareness of his eternal consciousness, that which sent him into expression. His identity is restored now in his awareness, and he is expressed as the Son of this infinite invisible. He is expressed as the visible image of the infinite invisible. This land is called, as I said, Beulah land. No longer called forsaken or desolate, but full of delight, because he is once again, I'm going to make this personal, you are once again aware of your maker, your maker's existence, and the fact that your maker, who always is there, always delights in you. I think that's Ezekiel 29:11. For my thoughts of you, even if you make a mistake, my thoughts of you. Look at all of the responsibility that's falling from your shoulders, because you only want to please him. And he is looking at the intent of your heart. He's looking at your intent to please him, and your faults are overlooked, wiped away, because you are intently deciding to what? Delight in him. And he is going to prove to you that he always delights in you. Now you are able to see how your understanding is going to affect those that you come in contact with. They don't need to know it. But you let one of them look at you and say, will you pray for me? You just look at them and say, it's done. Because you're delighting in that land. You know you have the authority of that land. And you know that your Father also delights in them, even though they may see themselves as desolate, in need, or forsaken. It's all about attitude. Most Christian circles look at the land called Beulah as a foretaste of the things to come prior to entering a place they call heaven. But it is in fact the actual entrance into the holiness described as heaven by Jesus. The kingdom of heaven is where? Within me. So the land called Beulah, I entered it. I entered it through the gateway of consciousness. And Jesus says that you might be where I am, and that I and the Father, being one, would welcome you into that oneness. It is heaven. Blessed are those eyes and ears that can see and hear what was just stated. First must come the recognition. See, it's available. That must be the first thing. Well, if you can look or even just listen to the sermons that are preached and the books that are written, and the books that are written about Jesus, and if you can recognize that something strange can go on in this thing that we're living in. Man walking on water, people being raised from the dead, people being miraculously healed, blindness being cured. If you can accept the fact that those things are occurring in this dimensional world, and it has to be more than 3 dimensions, because those things don't happen in 3 dimensions. They happen in a 4th, 5th, 6th, or whatever dimension beyond that. If you can recognize that, then you have opened the gateway to inspection, research, and the depth that you give to your intent will create what is called acceptance of this land. We have recognition, we have acceptance, and then we put forth disciplined exercises to express this conscious awareness. This is the gateway by which we enter the kingdom of heaven. Don't get me wrong now, this is not easy. It's not easy because you got a whole world of people to contend with as you enter. It takes courage. It is going to take all of the courage. But God says, don't be afraid. For the little that you yield to me in courage, I will fashion. I will form. I will undergird. I will be with you when you walk through the waters. When you walk through the fire, I will be with you. See, the courage has already been provided. Reminds me of a little short story today when I walked up to someone who didn't know me and I introduced myself. They looked like they were in their 20s or whatnot. And they came with that, I'm trying to make it, this, that, and other. And I said, have you ever tried to stop breathing? And they said, no. I said, you need to recognize that breath that's breathing, that's the gift of God. It's breathing as you. That means that you being expressed as that 2-legged being right there, he came with you. That breath came with you. And their eyes popped open. I said, so just acknowledge, no matter what, acknowledge that breath that's breathing in you and watch your world change. See, I didn't go into no whole full-fledged sermon on this person. 20, 30 seconds. Just acknowledge that breath, no matter what. And whoever tries to upset you, or whatever threat comes, acknowledge that breath first before you react. Watch your world change. You see, this is how we go in and possess the land. It is a land first seen, finished in the invisible awareness called consciousness, and there that one is given the authority to enter in and possess it. I want to stop right here, because if I say it is a land that is first seen, finished in the invisible awareness called consciousness, and then in that consciousness, you are given the authority to enter in and possess it. Can you not see that there's a process that goes on within you before it externalizes itself? Oh, I hope you do. Because what you're seeing is the process of communing with God on the invisible, God making you aware of his presence, the authority, that which is finished, and you come to a rest. Because you've seen it within yourself completed. It now must show up externally. But it's not really showing up externally. It's showing up as your belief. And where did your belief originate? There you go. It originated within you. The concept of it is showing up out here. And it will last out here as long as your belief stays. And your belief should stay what? Eternal. Eternal. Because the authority to enter into and possess that land you have accepted. So therefore, how do we overcome any and everything? Within our conscious awareness. This is the beginning of that which is called the second coming of the Christ, or Christ in you, the hope of glory. No longer are you sandbagged on waiting on a divine being coming back to confer some type of blessing on you. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying it's happening right now if you can recognize and accept this. When he comes back, guess what? You will recognize him right off. You won't have to say, who is that? Who is it, Lord? Christ in you, the hope of glory. And that word glory is not that you would be glorified in front of all of your peers. No, you would be expressing the glory that God is. Only God is glorified. Only God can be seen in glory. Christ in you is the expression, the exemplification, or the exemplifying of the glory of God. You've opened the door for the infinite one to express himself. The light of understanding breaks through the veils of darkness, and we become partakers of the wonderful universe in which we already inhabit. Got to stop again. I have to stop again. We become aware of the wonderful universe in which we already are inhabitants. Doesn't look like it, does it? No. Let's take a walk back in time. Remember when Paul's on his way to Damascus to persecute Christians? He meets Jesus Christ on the trail. He falls from his horse. He dedicates himself to the Lord. And what happens? He's blinded. He becomes blind. He is then taken by his companions to Damascus and put before a man named Ananias, whom he's told is going to pray for him. And when Ananias prays for him, what happens? Scales fall from his eyes. They allow his blindness to be cured, but what happens in his consciousness? That's right. The blindness of his consciousness is cured. And it is revealed to him what? This glorious, wonderful world in which he has always lived in, now he sees it for what it is. I have always lived in this land, and my blindness to it has been healed. Now he sees as Jesus sees. Now he walks as Jesus walks. Now he speaks as Jesus speaks. Now the redeemed of the Lord are seen any and everywhere he goes. Yep. The scales fall from his physical eyes, allowing him to see, but the scales from his blindness of who he is and who everyone on the planet is also falls from his awareness, and the land called Beulah is revealed to him. That which God has joined together, let no man put asunder. This is Beulah land, the marriage of spirit and soul. It is the union of the self and the Christ of God. Oh my goodness. It is the union of the self and the Christ of God. This is the marriage that lasts eternally. Only believe. This is the marriage with the Lamb of God. Oneness with your God self. Oneness with your God self. Yes, your God self. You are not coming to oneness with your God self. This is how you were expressed. I'm not even going to say created, because you were expressed from the infinite invisible that is God. Therefore, you are one. You have always been one, and now your awareness is returning to that understanding. Recognition and realization of this union will reveal a voice within, or a touch within, or a something within, confirming that this is the way. Walk ye in it. Be not afraid, for I am with you. You shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of the Lord shall name. That phrase is also recorded in the book of Revelation. And it was given in the forehead a name which no man could speak, for it is the name given by the Lord. Thou shalt be a crown of glory in his hand. Just look at your imagination right now. I'm feeling like a child sitting somewhere and just wants to get up and just run and play. You shall be a crown of glory. Remember, glory is God. In his hand. So that means his hand is moving you, moving everything about you to his glorification. No more termed forsaken or desolate, but HEPHZIBAH, the land called Beulah. Go through the gates and greet him that marries thee. This is my gift to you this evening, and may you awaken with the full redemption understanding of the Lord. A holy people, sought out, a city not forsaken, married to a land called Beulah.